3, 2, 1. You are now experiencing the DTF podcast from Sarah Stouffer.
Whoa.
New intro. Do you like it?
No, we don't like it. We hate it.
All right.
3, 2, 1, let the games begin. Today we are talking about the Hunger Games.
Very bad. Okay,
Ballad
Sarah, thanks
of
for coming.
Songbird and Snakes.
Sarah, we have to talk about this movie?
It's the highest grossing film in the world right now, Asaad.
I think it's the grossest film.
Tell us how you really feel about it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to DTF. Today we are talking about The Hunger Games, a ballad of songbird and snakes. This movie we went to see at the AMC. The lovely Nicole Kidman greeted us in the beginning with her sparkly pantsuit, and we all clapped. And that was the last time we had any joy in this theater.
She ripped our ticket and said, "This is where dreams come true."
She said, "This is where dreams go to die, the Hunger Games." I would like to start this pod by saying that I really love the first 4 movies of the Hunger Games, the first 3 books, one of my favorite books, some of my favorite books. And this movie was just okay for me. And that was being nice.
We usually try to bury the lead, so you guys are like, let's see what Sarah and Asaad think about this movie. We usually try to bury the lead, but we're on no bullshit today, man. This movie... Oh, go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry.
It was tough. It was tough. You want to give us a quick rundown of what the film was about?
Yes. 2 poorly casted people go on the Hunger Games, fall in love. I fall asleep in the theater, try to ask for my money back from AMC, to which they haven't responded to the email, and now we're here.
I asked to speak to a manager, and I got refunded immediately.
Years before becoming president, we follow President Snow, whose family is destitute, and he learns that he will mentor a participant in the Hunger Games in order to win a scholarship. Throughout the games, Snow and his mentee, Lucy Gray, fall in love, and they win the Hunger Games. But Snow is sent to District 12 after it reveals he violated rules by sending Lucy Gray rat poison while in the Hunger Games. In trying to get back to the capital, Snow commits a couple heinous crimes, and him and Lucy Gray inevitably part ways. Sarah, are you in? Are you more of a songbird or a snake gal?
I'm a snake gal. I grew up with snakes. I had pet snakes growing up.
All right. Do we want a 3, 2, 1, what we think about this
Yeah,
movie?
let's give it a one-word answer. When we walked out of this, one-word summary of this movie. You ready?
3, 2, 1. Jennifer
Yikes.
Lawrence. Yes?
Did you say Jennifer Lawrence? How's that one word? That's someone's name.
I said it fast. That's the rules. If you
Okay,
say it fast,
it's one word.
Yours was yikes?
Mine was yikes.
Why yikes?
Oof, y'all, this movie was tough. I would love to know if people like this movie. I think people are just going to see it because it's a Hunger Games movie, but holy crap, it is a tough watch. It is long. It is terribly miscast. It didn't have, I read all of the books. I read this book before I went and saw the movie, and I will say the book itself was left a little to be desired. It was a little lacking in story. It wasn't as charming or as exciting as the original Hunger Games books were, but the movie was even worse, man.
This is not as bad as we're making it sound. It's just we didn't really dig it. I'll let you speak for you, Sarah, which you did eloquently. Thank you. But this movie actually should have been decent. And it's probably a decent movie, where it's not as bad as we're making it sound. But, boy, they missed on so many things here. And I appreciate that everything's a cash grab now. Get your money. But this was so evident that it was half-baked. It was forced casting, which was probably my biggest problem with it, is that almost nobody in the cast worked. And I'm not talking about newcomers in the movie. I'm talking about classic actors that we love in other things being in this movie, and it still didn't work. You add all those things up and give it almost a 3-hour runtime.
Oof.
And I hate to shit on movies. I know we joke around about me being a curmudgeon, but this might have been the toughest viewing experience I had in all year of like, damn, I'm still in this movie theater.
Yeah, and I really don't know if I could put my finger on why. I think a lot of it is to do with the story, and for me, a huge part of it is, unfortunately, Rachel Zegler's casting in this film. What they did with the character was strange to me. They made her this country bumpkin with a southern twang that nobody else in the film had for some reason. And in the book, they write out every song lyric, and she sings all the time, and which is great and fine. And to be honest, I kind of skipped over those parts as well. But in the movie, they've got her singing, and the tunes that they put these songs to were like country twangy mood, you know, like, well, I took my horse, but I got some beer, so I'm okay. And then it's just like, what are we watching? What is happening? It was Whiplash. It was not the movie Whiplash. It was Whiplash, and it just nothing worked for me. I didn't care about any of these characters.
When Sarah says that, the whole first 35 to 45 minutes before the Hunger Games is us sitting with that. Is us sitting with Rachel Zegler, who I think she's a good actor, but like Sarah says, it just doesn't fit in this film. The character's weird. Her playing it is weird. And who's the guy that playing Snow? I shouldn't say the guy. I should say his name.
Tom Blythe.
Tom Blythe playing Snow. That version of Snow, where he's like this upcoming college student, he didn't play that very well. He turns at the end when he kind of does a heel turn, and it makes a little bit more sense then. But in the first 45 minutes, we're stuck with a Hunger Games problem, which always is the problem in every Hunger Games film. We're waiting to get to the games. Now, the first two films I thought did it excellently. They build up the characters, and you're like actually care about the other not cast, but like the other people playing in the Hunger Games. So there's stakes there. It's like, damn, man, because it's on its face, Hunger Games is such a brilliant premise. It's Lord of the Flies nowadays, you know, a bunch of kids having to kill themselves to remind them of a war where they tried to do an uprise, right? But you, in the first 30 or 40 minutes of every Hunger Games, you're wondering who's going to kill who. This conflict's here. These guys are friends. These guys are enemies, and it works well. So you're not just waiting for the Hunger Games to start. But when you saddle this movie with two people that are miscast, not really fun, and you've already seen the Hunger Games 3 or 4 times already, it was tough. And then once we got into the Hunger Games, Sarah, I would say this is the least rewarding actual Hunger Games in all of the Hunger Games. Am I tripping?
Well, no, you're not wrong. And let me tell you my idea as to why this was an unsatisfying games. It was supposed to be pre-Hunger Games as we know them by many, many, many years, right? Obviously, Tom Blythe playing President Snow, as we know him, is, 70 years old or so? And so this is long time before the Hunger Games as we know them. And the Hunger Games are supposed to be in their early stages, and that's the whole point of this movie. Who saw the Hunger Games and was like, man, I want to know more about that Snow character.
That Snow is one of the most interesting, man. I know Jennifer Lawrence is on screen, but that Snow guy, he's got a good set of tits.
And I think what they're trying to do is to show how he changed the Hunger Games, how he made them even more cruel, and how much worse he made them. But essentially, in this film, the Hunger Games that you get is a shell of the Hunger Games that we know them as. So we don't get to know the contestants at all. They just throw them in our faces, and we're like, oh, okay, so we're supposed to know who these people are, what their skills are, who their teams are. None of it makes sense. It feels very like sloppily thrown on. And I think with the other games, there's beautiful settings. We've gotten to know the characters. We spent time getting to know their skills when they're doing those warm-ups and getting their scores. You know, they did such a good job of building us up to what we were about to watch. Now they may have taken for granted that we already know what the Hunger Games are as an audience, so they didn't need to reintroduce to us why they do them or what they're there for. But in doing that, they skimmed over some really integral parts, and they only introduced us to one character, which is Lucy Gray, in the games, and unfortunately, I didn't even care about her. She's supposed to be this charming, sweet girl. I don't know why they chose Southern Belle, but unfortunately, I don't think that's, and I agree with you, Asaad, I don't think that Rachel Zegler is a bad actress. I do think that she was miscast because I think she gives off more of a I'm a hard, strong woman type of vibe, and they're casting her in these like sweet, soft, type of roles, and it doesn't work.
And don't, again, disclaimer, don't let us two yahoos ruin the film for you. If you're a bigger Hunger Games fan, go enjoy this film. I'm sure you'll get something out of it. It's just us, our perspective here. We just didn't really enjoy this. And I think it's doing great business across the globe here. I think internationally it's even doing pretty decent business. So it could just be us two yahoos who don't have taste. So don't barbecue us or don't barbecue the film. Still, if you're interested in the series, go see it. But I'm with Sarah that I think the biggest problem was miscasting. And then 2 is this story about Snow. It's like, man, Instinct's cool. We need to get a deeper dive on Joey Fatone. It's like, who wanted that story about this guy?
Who asked for this?
Yeah, who asked for Joey Fatone? Shout out to Joey Fatone, but I don't want the story, I don't know. It was a fundamental flaw, I thought, from the beginning. And just when I thought I was over, like, okay, cool, these guys don't fit. Okay, cool, I don't want to hear about Snow. At least the Hunger Games are starting. they add this musical element to it where it like takes like it feels like you're watching a musical. And I know all the TV and film post like High School Musical wants to add wants to add music into all their trailers, into their songs, into their movies, and everyone's trying to shoehorn it in because they've all figured that like that equals dollars when people know a song, you know? So like how much songs can we add into this? And I know it's a big part of the book, but boy, if Rachel Zegler playing a Southern Belle doesn't work, her playing a Southern Belle that sings songs and going to concerts really doesn't work. And I'm just and I don't want to shit on this movie for 30 minutes or however, but it just like felt like, ooh, they're asking me to get over so many fundamental flaws in this film. I'm like, and that was even before the Hunger Games start. And once the Hunger Games started, it wasn't that rewarding either, you know?
You know what it felt like to me overall? It felt like we were really missing. They didn't know what to add from the book. This book was over 500 pages long. A script this movie was what, 2 hours and 40 minutes, Asaad?
Yeah.
So that would be, in theory, a 240 page script, would you say?
Yeah.
So they had to try and, which, you know, first thing to say is that it should have been shorter.
Yeah.
It was really long. Would you have rather this been split into 2 films? Do you think that would have been better and they could have given us more development, or are you like, get me out of here?
It's a good question, and I think we talk about this a lot. There's a reason why people get Oscars for adapting a book, right? Because it's really fucking tough.
Adapted screenplay, yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough to know what to keep in a book that goes into a movie. You have to know what's going to translate, plus what to keep out is big, you know? Like, and they've done that pretty well in the Hunger Games series. There's a couple things where I'm like, that's not going to translate, and then they didn't add it in the film.
Yes.
But the problem is with the runtime, Sarah. It's like these Hunger Games movies are 90% the actual Hunger Games event inside of it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm okay. I'm like, okay, cool. This 45 minutes to an hour leading up to the actual Hunger Games isn't working for me, but at least we'll get into the Hunger Games. And then that kind of underwhelmed me. And then unfortunately, similar to Oppenheimer, this is the only way this movie's similar to Oppenheimer. Once you're out of the Hunger Games, you feel like another movie is starting. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, now we're on this journey. And I was like, damn, man, I don't know how to answer your question. I'm sorry if it's too long or not. To me, it feels like a fundamental flaw in the script. That I'm like, everyone came to see the Hunger Games.
I couldn't agree with you more in general. Like, I felt like they added, I remember reading the first books and thinking, how are they going to get all of this into a movie? A lot of it is inside of Katniss's mind. So I was like, are they going to have her narrate the whole time? Like, how are they going to do this? And I thought that they did it very well. For a book that I loved so much. I think they nailed it with the first movies. And this director also directed the Mockingjay Part 1 and 2.
Yes.
Francis Lawrence. And arguably also the worst of those movies. But I think the fatal flaw in this was not only casting Rachel, who, again, we don't want to just sit here and give more hate. I know she's been going through a lot of stuff. I think she's a good actress. I just think she was miscast. That was a fatal flaw. And then I think also the things that they chose from the book that they thought were important enough to add into this film and the things that they left out because of it just didn't. I think they did a bad job of that.
Sarah, out of all the shit we're talking, thankfully we do get to talk about something good. What was your rose in this film?
My rose was actually, surprisingly, I think you're probably going to hate this because I know you hate this person, this actor, Lucretius Lucky Flickerman, played by Jason Schwartzman.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I thought he was the only...
Mom, come get me. Mom, will you come get me? Will you bring the sandwiches? No, Sarah's tripping again. She's liking bad performances. Yeah, it's her rose. Yeah.
Did she say she could come pick you up? Did you lose your license? What's happening? Are you 12?
She's busy.
She's not coming. You still need a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was the only time that I was actually having a little bit of fun in this movie. He plays the kind of the host of the Hunger Games, played by Stanley Tucci in the original films, and this is, I guess, his like great grandpa in the story. Because that's how things work. Nepotism, I guess. Well, not so far from the truth. He was my rose. I thought he swung for the fences, but randomly it worked. You know, he's kind of aloof and just he's on the phone trying to make a dinner reservation while these children are getting murdered on screen. He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be a little late. My job's running a little long. Like, can we still get our table? You know, and that all felt improv-y and good. And I thought that worked for me, and that was a fun part of it.
Yeah, mine was when President Snow, these guys find out that they have to mentor these different people from different districts. And President Snow is like, this girl's thin, she's not athletic, she's not going to win these Hunger Games. He realizes he has to go above and beyond to make sure she wins these Hunger Games. And when they capture all of the contestants, Snow jumps in the van with them and is like, I'm going with them, man. I need more time with this person if we're really going to win this. And I'm like, oh, you know me, I'm a sucker for like doing the thing nobody else wants to do. And that was one of the few scenes that I was like, oh, I'm actually in on this scene. I'm actually seeing their connection. I'm actually seeing a like motive here. And for the next like 20, 25 minutes when they got dropped into that zoo-like thing, it showed Snow's character. It showed their relationship of why she might be won over by this guy. That scene actually worked for me. What was your Thorn?
That's so interesting because I remember that I went to the bathroom at that part. So I missed that entire scene. So that's interesting that worked.
That's kind of ironic because the rest of the movie made me go to the bathroom. No? Okay, all right. I'll stop.
My Thorn was, gosh, guys, I love a musical. Every time she sang, and I think she's got a beautiful voice. Let me say that. Every time she sang, it was so wild. It was like suspend your disbelief so much that I was just like, what is fucking happening? Like, what is actually happening? She's up there singing like, I know I already did this, but like, I lost my dog, but I still got my truck. And then they cut to the citizens of Pan Am watching, and they're like, crying every time. She sang 18 songs in this fucking movie, and every time she was singing this like upbeat ballad or like upbeat, and then they just cut to people crying, and you're like, did I miss something? What is happening? Sorry, I got real excited, but
I like that.
But it was just so like they could have chosen. It was never described in the book that she has a Southern accent. It was never described in the book that she sings Southern twangy songs or country-like songs. They just have the lyrics and that's it. And she's supposed to be a sweet, charming, likable girl. And her whole choice for acting in this movie was just this. Her and Tom Blythe just stared so hard at each other, and she seemed more hardened than she's supposed to be. Let's be honest, she was my Thorn. I thought she was trying to make this character. Katniss had some chutzpah, right? Yeah. Katniss making those choices. You would go, okay, cool. But this character wasn't written like that. Mm-hmm. So that's my issue, right? That's my issue, is that she's supposed to be the soft, kind one, and he's supposed to be kind of the more manipulative. And then he also didn't make any choices as an actor, or the director didn't really do any good job of having them have moments where he was charmed by her, even though he was supposed to be, like he's supposed to really fall for this girl. But I didn't buy any of it. They had zero chemistry. Do you agree?
I agree.
They had zero chemistry. Did you feel like you had to say you agree because I'm screaming and I'm really upset?
You kind of control your emotion. I'm usually the one that flies off the handle here. I'm proud. I was like the emperor being like, yes.
You know why? It's because I really like these movies and I was just so bummed. I was excited for like a fun, good time. And I went in and watched Two Wet Blankets, and I think they're both good actors. I think they didn't work in this, or maybe it was the directing or the script, or probably more realistically, all of those things.
Yeah, and I don't know if these movies are fun. I think the other ones are fun. At the bottom line, there are kids killing kids. It's a violent film. It's tough, but there's a little bit more adventure, I should say, in these films than this one was. I feel you on that, on making her decision. Yeah, there's a lot of times where, like, a book. We keep on going back to the adaptation of the book, but like if you take a game like Last of Us, the main character was a video game, and then it's a white guy there. But like when they adapted it to the HBO series, they chose a Chilean actor, Pedro Pascal. Mm-hmm. And that's a bold move. Like I know Last of Us has a cult following. Right. But you got to be bold and be like, you know what? Maybe this doesn't work in the book. Let's just make some choices, and you have to be like liberated by taking the book on, but not like confined to it. Let's make some choices that work for the film. There's a reason why it's a film now, not a book. You have to make some things a little bit more visually stunning. My Thorn was Viola Davis. Can't believe I'm saying that. One of our finest actors in the world. Got saddled with, me and Sarah talked about in our Wolf of Wall Street podcast that Jonah Hill was being really big in it, and the movie met him there, so he nestled in because he knew what kind of film it was, or the director did a good job. Viola Davis, I felt like dealt a raw hand in this. I know a lot of actors, especially esteemed actresses like that, always want to play the villainous boss. That's a cool thing to check off your list. I think she's already done it in Suicide Squad a little bit, and I think the director let her down by not really giving her the right character or the right tone for this villain. Because every time she was on screen, she had a weird eye, she had weird hair, she dressed weird, she talked weird, and they just gave her everything. In a movie that's supposed to be really good at realism, right? You're taking poverty, kids that are thrown into other games that have to kill each other, and then you give it like a Bond villain. And I was like, damn, man, you did one of our finest actors, like very bad, because Viola Davis is just phenomenal. But my Thorn is Viola Davis, unfortunately, Sarah.
Well, Peter Dinklage is in this one as well, and he also doesn't do, he's not bad. There's no bad acting in this. It's just what worked and what didn't work. Viola Davis, I can do no wrong in my eyes, so I will not comment on that. But I do think it was, again, I'm going to go back to, I always try to figure out when I don't like a movie, or I do, why was that? What was it? And I think at the end of the day, the real answer is that film is the most collaborative thing, right? Like, it's just such a collaborative thing. And if one thing is lacking, the whole castle crumbles. So I think if I had to pick something, I would say it's the director and the script that really made this not work. Because I think in the original Hunger Games, we have some really over-the-top characters, and we have President Snow, and we have these dramatic moments, but you get to know these characters a little bit. And in this film, it just felt like everyone was like thrown in a room, and they were like, let's just make it. It'll make money.
Yeah, and I think it is making money, and so we're the dummies here because, like, I think it will make its money back. I think once I check the numbers, we just had a little bit higher hopes for this film. Wanted to come in here talking about a fun new franchise that we could kind of expand upon. Sarah, I'm gonna go a little bit out of order. Are you ready?
I think so.
Do you have a double feature for this film that you would watch before or after that blends well with this film? I can give you some time, and we can go into another segment if you want to think about it some more.
A nap.
Death.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, you can't say to watch maybe one of the other Hunger Games, the original Hunger Games with it, so you can watch a good movie.
These aren't the most original answers, but I was going to go with the first Maze Runner.
Ooh, I loved those movies.
I thought it was really
good.
Those
were fun. Not as good as the original Hunger Games, but fun.
And I think it's an example of that main actor in Maze Runner might not be the best actor, but he worked in that film. And in fact, and then when you take this film, it's like they got good actors that are not working in it.
Yeah.
It's just a little simplified.
So then I don't blame the actors. I do not blame the actors. I will say we have an accent police for this.
Let's go cook food.
And I know you don't like it when I go accent police and there's no accent detected, but I didn't realize that Mr. Blythe here is British. So well done on that.
Okay. We got a good part of this.
We'll sit here and talk shit, but I'll give you one. I'll give you your flowers. Like I had no idea he was British, and I was like, of course he's British.
Well done, chap. Well done. Well done, Scotty Blythe. What's his name?
Tom.
Sorry, Tom. Sarah Stouffer. It has come to the time, and I think the fans probably know, but we need to hear your Gummy rating for this film. What is Sarah Stouffer's Gummy rating for Hunger Games, the Songbirds, Snakes, Ballads, fucking Prisoner of
really
Azkaban,
concise.
Half-Blood
really good.
Prince? Okay, what's your Gummy rating?
100. It's a scale of 0 to 5. 100.
Yes. Yes. If you can OD on marijuana, this is the
time. Take a nap. Again, take it like 2 hours before, so you can be perfect time for a nap when you go see this movie. I would say this was not a great time for me sitting in this movie. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about how much I disliked it. I will say, if you like it, please chime in. Tell me what you liked about it. If you have read the book, if you haven't, I think maybe I did myself a disservice by reading the book. And had I just gone in and watched it, I might have liked it a lot better. Although Asaad didn't read the book and he didn't like it, but curmudgeon corner.
I can't read.
He's a curmudgeon anyway. Hey, Mom, can you come pick me up?
Can I ask you, what was your favorite trailer? Let's go into trailer trash. Do you remember the trailers
I did. I closed my laptop.
I know, sorry, guys. Usually we have Sarah run the pod, but she's been really busy. I wanted to take something off her hands, and I was like, why don't we have the not attractive person do most of the talking in this pod? So this will do 200 views.
Do you
need time to pull it up?
No, I got it right here. My most excited was Wonka.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. We sat next to each other. We watched this Hunger Games together. And I will say, the Hugh Grant jokes, the Oompa Loompa jokes that they worked on me. I was cracking up. I was laughing out loud. I can always feel Asaad's judgment in the seat next to me when I laugh at dumb things like that. He's like, "Oh, that worked for you, huh?" And I'm like,
Let me get that flip off in this camera. Okay. Madam Web. Have you heard of Dakota Johnson?
"Oh yeah, because you make me listen to you talk about her for hours and hours and hours and hours." Asaad has a big crush on Dakota Johnson. She is the most vanilla, most basic person, and he's obsessed with her, and it makes me so angry.
Not
Please.
a crush. We're meant for each other, and it's Vanilla Bean.
Yes, Madam Web. Look, tell us how good that movie looks, Asaad. Tell us how good it looks.
It looks good, and I'll give you a brief description of it that'll make you really want to go see it because the concept's really cool. Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney.
Don't be a douche.
Oh, sorry. So, wouldn't you want to go see a movie with those two?
No,
You really wouldn't?
I don't think Dakota Johnson's getting me to buy a ticket. Just her name alone.
Mom, she's talking about DJ again. She's disrespecting DJ. Are you in front? Okay. We pull around the corner because my friends are outside. I don't want to jump in. Okay. Love you. I love you. I love you more. Dakota Johnson is someone I truly love. For someone who didn't like the 50 Shades of Grey, because that wasn't for me, surprisingly.
Did you watch that movie?
I only watched like a bit of it was like a movie watch. I mean, it came on cable.
Second screen, kind of.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but I really love Dakota Johnson, and I'm glad she's gotten a main role again. She was one of those people that I thought would have a franchise and then never be heard from again, or do weird independent movies like a la Kristen Stewart. Like it's tough when you're saddled with a franchise at the beginning of your career. That's like a big book franchise. Speaking of Hunger Games, but yeah, I was excited to see her get a main role, and have a second, like her supporting actress be Sydney Sweeney. I don't think there was like a top billed man in that. So movie looks corny, but I was just happy to see Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney in a movie. What was your not so good trailer? What was your trailer?
My
trash?
least excited about is it's a movie called Imaginary, and it's a movie about a haunted teddy bear.
Oh, this is the prequel to Ted.
Evil Ted.
Evil Ted.
Yo, it's just so, it's like I did have a Teddy Ruxpin growing up. Did you have one of those? It's like
I wasn't rich like you.
He had like a tape you put in him, like, and I don't remember. It was like a cassette tape, and it like lived in his back, and then he would talk and sing songs. Super creepy. I guess now that I'm saying it out loud, probably won't be a terrible movie. Probably a good concept.
Can see why it got made.
I can totally see why it just looks dumb. It's like the creepy bear told me to do it, mommy. Just like I'm all set.
Hold on, I think we got a new segment. Let's introduce everyone to Sarah's creepy teddy bear segment. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, I'm your creepy teddy bear. Give me a hug. I love you.
My least favorite trailer was Sarah, Close Your Ears. I can't believe I'm saying this because Tina Fey's the most brilliant creators we have. Tina, stop. Get some help. Michael Jordan voice. We don't need any more Mean Girl shit, man. Last year you had plays, Broadway musicals. I think there's a reality show of Mean Girls. I think there's a pop-up book. I think there's a food truck, the Mean Girls hamburgers that you can buy. I appreciate you getting your bag. But Tina, this has to stop. Get some help. No more Mean Girls stuff. It's the exact same film. You're in it again. You didn't even change it. And if you were real, bring back Lindsay Lohan.
You done?
I'm done. Sorry. Sorry.
I'm excited to see the Mean Girls musical. I wasn't sure that it was a musical. We were like, what's going on? He's tapping me. He's like, are you sure it's a musical? Because they're not singing. And so our friend of the pod, Tori, was explaining to me that they have cut two trailers, one that's a musical version and one that's not. So they tried to get you without putting the music in, trying to hope that you'd be interested in watching, but Asaad still wasn't, which is fair. I mean, I get it. Yeah, it's like more of the same story over and over again. But guess what? We're going to go see it.
We will.
We're going to go see it. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed on our Patreon. And on our YouTube members, our swimmers, we really, really appreciate you, and we love you guys. If you have not yet subscribed and you're interested, the holidays are coming up. Maybe ask someone to gift you a subscription to support. We appreciate you. And for those of you who are listening, thank you for listening. Please leave us a review. It really helps people when they're searching for our podcast. And I'm sorry this one was kind of a bummer. We don't love to come and just talk negatively, but to be honest, we're being honest. This movie was not for us. Tell us your thoughts, your opinions. We always love to hear them. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Because this was a bummer, guys,
Oh.
Sarah's going to sing Love Yourself from Justin Bieber to lift everyone's spirits.
As if you like the way you look that much, then baby, you should go and love yourself.
Keep cooking. Let's go.
What is it, a saxophone? Thank you all for watching, seriously. And unless Asaad wants another musical performance, I think we can be done.
We're good.
Thank you all. See you guys next week. Bye.